Most assassin origin films and even stories are about the making of a weapon. Meanwhile, American Assassin is about what really happens when the only material available is grief. Michael Cuesta's 2017 film, based on Vince Flynn's novel, follows a young man named Mitch Rapp who is radicalized by a personal loss and then professionally refined into a CIA counterterrorism asset. On the surface, it's a clean, efficient, modern action film, and underneath it's a story about how institutions take private rage and turn it into a usable tool, and how little interest they actually have and what that process does to the person inside the tool. That's the real subject of the film, and while the film doesn't always push the idea as far as it could, it's more revealing than it first appears. So let's talk about it.
About to be captured. Bye-bye.
The film begins with Mitch, played by Dylan O'Brien, on a beach vacation with his girlfriend. The scene is bright and casual and almost commercial in its happiness, which is on purpose, because a terrorist attack hits. She is killed in front of him and he survives, and this is the wound that creates everything that follows. The movie does not linger in any especially deep psychological way, but it makes the causal chain very clear. Mitch's entire path into the Black Ops world begins with a single irreversible personal loss. There is no ideology at the start of the film. There is only pain and desire to make someone pay. It establishes that Mitch is not a natural-born killer or even a patriot in the classical sense. He's a civilian whose grief is about to be professionalized. The system recognizes that this is some useful rage. After the attack, Mitch begins hunting the people connected to it on his own. His methods are crude but effective, and enough to get the attention of the CIA, who have been watching him. Instead of arresting him, they decide to use him, and this is one of the more honest beats in the film, because the agency doesn't see a broken young man who needs help. It sees raw material, someone who already has the one quality that is hard to train: the willingness to kill without needing a long ideological explanation. Michael Keaton's Stan Hurley is a veteran operative and trainer who is brought in to shape him. Keaton plays Hurley with a kind of weary, pragmaticism. He's not a father figure in a warm sense. He's a craftsman who has made this kind of weapon before and really knows the cost of this. The training sequences are the strongest stretch of the film. Hurley subjects Mitch to physical and even psychological pressure designed to erase hesitation. The violence is practical and ugly rather than stylish, and the film shows the process of turning someone who still flinches into someone who doesn't. Dylan O'Brien, I feel like, is well cast here. He still looks young enough that the transformation feels like a violation rather than a cool upgrade, and you can see the civilian version of Mitch being sanded away. And I feel like this is where the film comes closest to examining its own premise. The training is not just about skills, it's about removing the parts of Mitch that still belong to the life that was taken from him. The agency doesn't want the grieving boyfriend and wants to function. Once Mitch is operational, the film settles into a more familiar geopolitical film rhythm. There is a larger plot involving nuclear materials and a rogue former asset played by Taylor Kitsch, and the usual architecture of international crisis. Mitch proves that he's effective, and he is decisive, ruthless, and increasingly comfortable with the work that he's doing. The movie tracks his competence more carefully than his, interior at this stage. The grief is still there, but it has been channeled into something that the system can use. The parallel with the villain is pretty deliberate as well. Kitsch's character is also a product of trauma and Black Ops training who eventually turned against his makers, and the film suggests that, without dwelling on it too heavily, that Mitch and the man he is hunting are different stages of that same process. The final act delivers the expected action resolution. Mitch completes the mission, and he is no longer the kid from the beach. He has become the thing Hurley and the agency set out to make. The ending is not particularly tragic or even triumphant. It is just functional. Mitch has a place in the machine now, and the personal wound has been converted into professional purpose. The film does not also ask too loudly whether that conversation or conversion, that is a victory or a loss. And I feel like American Assassin is ultimately more interested in the effectiveness of the process than its moral residue, which I really like. It's very unique for a film like this. It shows you how a grieving civilian becomes an assassin and then more or less accepts the result as a necessary. That acceptance is revealing in itself. And it is worth being honest about the level that this movie is operating at. The plotting is conventional. Most of the supporting characters are very thin, and the geopolitics are simplified in the usual way of studio action films like this. And the film rarely slows down long enough to let the heavier implications of its premise sit. Now, I haven't read any of the books, so I don't know if that's on purpose or if that's how the book was, anything like that. But what this film does have is a certain clean professionalism in the action and a committed central performance. O'Brien, I feel like, sells both the raw early rage and the colder later versions of Mitch. Keaton brings gravity to a material that could have easily just felt purely generic. And I feel like American Assassin is not a deep film, clearly, but it is a film that I still go back and watch. I think it's a clear film. It understands, even only halfway, that modern systems of violence are very good at identifying private pain and converting it into institutional utility. Mitch begins as a person who has lost something, and by the end, he is a capability. The movie does not cry over that transformation, and it does not celebrate it with pure glamour either. It's kind of just right in the middle. It simply shows that the process is indeed working. In a genre full of origin stories that treat the making of a killer as a cool or even badass thing, there is something faintly colder and more useful about a film that treats it as a kind of bureaucratic craft. The grief never really goes away. It just gets better at following orders.
This isn't personal.
Thank you guys so much for watching this Pixel and Popcorn. If you enjoyed this week's episode, like I did while making this, then hit that like and subscribe button. I also want to thank my Patreon producers for supporting the channel. We've got a Patreon, so links will be down there below in the description below. You'll get extra videos, content, stuff like that. And I actually think in the next couple weeks we'll start having extra reviews over there just to get a little bit more content over there outside of like the usual vlogs and movie reviews and game reviews and stuff like that I usually do, just to have just a few more things over there. So that's something you're interested in. If you like this video and you want to see more, like I said, if that's something you're interested in, do that. And comment down below, let me know your thoughts on this film. Is this something that you rewatch like I do? I love rewatching this film. I absolutely love the opening scenes, especially the training stuff and the MMA and stuff like that. I absolutely think that this is a movie that could have got franchised, just like how there's 20-something books in this series. But unfortunately, based on box office and also based on reviews and stuff like that, it didn't happen. But I still enjoy this movie for what it is, and I love rewatching it. And so with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Like, subscribe for more.
My guess is if you and I go hand to hand, you could probably figure out inside of 20 seconds whether or not I have what it takes to make it through your selection process, so...